we were cracking so many jokes so loud, and then like we were just like, everyone would look at us like we were fucking insane. Like literally in the restaurant, like we were insane. And at one point, I think I was like making a joke about like, I don't remember. Oh yeah, I said something about the waiter, and then Millie said the waiter's name, and I was like really amused that she somehow knew the waiter's name. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how the fuck do you know? How do you know the waiter's name? So I was repeating the waiter's name, and I was like she was like, yeah, oh yeah, like, you know, Bob over there. And I was like, who's Bob? She was like, oh, the waiter. And I was like, how the fuck do you know the waiter's name? Be like, oh, hey, Bob, how are you doing? You know? And I said that so loud, the waiter, Bob, heard me. So he walked over and looked at us and was like, yes. And I was like, I started laughing my ass off. I was like, no, we don't need anything. We don't need anything. And then he looked at me so confused. And then Millie was like, oh yeah, could I just have a water? And she saved my ass. And then as soon as the waiter got up to get the water, Millie just started cackling at me. And I was like, yo, we could not be in public together. It's so bad. Like, she was able to suppress her laughter for like, I swear, like 10 seconds to say, yes, just the water. And then the second he left away, she lost it again. It was the most insane shit. It's so funny. We had another dinner. So this was the dinner with okay. This was the dinner Hoshikawa and Claire Senpai were also at, right? And so Hoshikawa and Claire sat at the table with Alira and Shu, because you know they know Japanese, right? And they sat at the table with who else? Oh, like one of the managers too. And then I think Uki was at that table as well. And then I sat at a table with like Albin, Vox, originally Shu, but Shu got up and moved to the Japanese table. And then there was like 2 other people at my table. I just don't remember. And then next to us, there was the girls table with Anna, Millie, Pomu, Reimu. I think that was it. Maybe one other person. Oh, and Rosemi. Yeah, Rosemi. And then Nina didn't come to this dinner. Because Nina was so tired from the karaoke the previous day. She just like didn't go out the rest of the time. She was like, yeah, no, like I was expecting you to be at the girls table. Well, originally I was at the girls table. But then, you know, Pomu came in and I was like, oh yeah, do you want to sit here? And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. I should have just sat with the girls, not gonna lie. Like I was like, what's wrong with me, man? I knew all of them better, but I was like, I need to meet people. So I sat with Albin, Vox, and like Wilson and like someone else. And so, but they were like right next to us. So like we were like talking like between the tables too. And at one point, we were kind of like all walking around the tables and like switching places with people because we were all spread out because there were like so many of us. There were like fuck, like 15 or 20 of us. There were a lot of us, right? So we couldn't all sit at the same table. So we were like moving around, kind of switching seats throughout the dinner so everyone could talk to everyone. And at one point, I was Albin and me moved to the girls table, and Vox, Wilson, one of the managers, and I think Ike were at the boys table then. And so I was at that table and we were talking about like random shit. I don't remember. Isn't it risky being a big group like that? We had a private room. This is towards the end of the dinner, but I thought it was hilarious. So I'm gonna be honest, at this fancy restaurant, I barely ate anything. Okay, it was one of those places where they had like courses and shit, and all the food was so fancy, like I didn't like any of it. Like I literally like did not like shit, right? And so when the dessert came out, I was ready to eat the dessert, man. Okay, I was ready. I was so ready. So what ended up happening is, since Albin and me joined the girls table, there was like twice as many people at the girls table than there was at the other table, right? excluding like the table with the JP senpais and like Shu and Alira and Uki, right? So they brought out the dessert, one dessert like plate per table. And since there was so much dessert on the other table, or there, since there were so many more, since there were way more people at my table at that point, we ate the dessert so fast. And then there was like one of everything we had left over, because they gave us like 2 chocolate cakes, 2 of like some other vanilla tart thing, 2 of some like cream cake, and 2 of this. Like there was like 2 of everything. And so my table went through the dessert so fast. And then the table with all the other dudes at it was like, they had only eaten 1 of every dessert. So there was 1 of every dessert left. And I was like, I literally said, I was like, bro, they have double our dessert. We ran out so fast. I was like, let's just take some of theirs. You know, they have some left over. So then Pomu got up and was like, did like a literal battle cry in this fucking restaurant, in this fancy ass restaurant, and stole a piece of chocolate cake from the other table. And I remember Vox and Wilson looked at us and they looked so distraught, like we had stolen their firstborn child. And I literally looked at them and I was like, listen, bro, we're just fighting the patriarchy. Do you not support women, huh? Do you not support women's rights, huh? Like I just started laying into them and they both looked at me like, well, I mean, I do, but like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, exactly, bro. We're dismantling the patriarchy. We're you know, giving equality. I was cracking hella jokes like that. And then fucking, and then we ate the chocolate cake so fast. And I was like, bro, we need more food, more dessert. Okay, we need more. Pone was like, yeah, Kyo, you go get the dessert. You know, dismantle the patriarchy. You're a true ally. We should get more dessert. And I was like, okay, because I wanted more dessert too, right? I wanted more dessert myself. So I was willing to, you know, be the sacrificial pawn to get the dessert. And then it was so funny because during all of this, I remember Rosemi looks at me and says, yeah, because you're a woman, so seriously. And I literally start dying laughing. I just started dying laughing. It was so funny to me. And then Millie was like, yeah, you know, fuck you Vox, fuck you Luxium, give me the food, fuck you Wilson. Like he literally said fuck you to everyone at the table. We are fighting back for our power, fuck you, like as a joke, right? And then they started fucking laughing too. And then I started laughing. We all started laughing. Homo was like, yeah, let out a battle cry, let out a battle cry. So I was really trying not to be loud in this restaurant because we had already all been so fucking loud at this restaurant. Like Pomu literally let out a battle cry. So I was like, okay. So I did like a quiet, you know, honestly, I did a bitch ass battle cry. Okay. It was the most mid battle cry of all battle cries. And I also was like, bro, I was like, dog, like we have the JP senpais right there and they were probably, and our manager, and they were probably so confused at what the fuck we were doing. I was also trying to make us not look crazy. I was like, this is the first time like most of us are meeting them and our manager and the manager, and fucking we're letting out battle cries at a like borderline business dinner. Like it wasn't really a business dinner, but like it like at this point it was like a Nijisanji dinner event. Like at this point we were so I get up, I let out like a weak ass battle cry because I was like we're gonna get kicked out. Like I know we're in a private area, but we're gonna get kicked the fuck out. Like, you know, so I let out a battle cry and I steal like a whole piece of, you know, the cake. And then the manager, Vox and Wilson both look at me and they're like, they look so sad. They're like, bro, we didn't even have a piece yet. And I was like, I grabbed it and I was like, do you want half? And then they just looked at me stun locked and I was like, okay, well, since you don't support women. And then I walked away. I was like, well, clearly you don't support women. So then I walked away and then everyone at the other table was like, yeah, they were cheering. And I was like, here are the splendors of our victory. And I set it down on the fucking table. And then we all started eating it. And then Rosemi was like, yeah, you're a true ally. You're a true ally. And Poma was like, yeah, you're one of us. And then Millie was just fucking laughing, like literally just laughing her ass off. Albin was laughing too. Like Albin didn't really say much, but he just kept fucking laughing during this whole thing. And the manager, Wilson, Ike, and Vox looked so fucking like distraught that we stole this dessert. And we just literally the rest of the dinner, we kept making jokes that like, you know, they weren't supporting women's rights and that like I was a woman or some shit and that like I was the true, like they just kept, we kept this joke alive for the rest of the dinner. I'm not even kidding. Like the whole dinner, everything that happened, we based it around this premise of like dismantling the patriarchy as like purely for the meme. It was so fucking funny. It was so fucking funny. First it was Sunny, my man. Now it's Kyo, our woman. What's happening?